I always forget to put the mic on when I go on the air. So, hello, and we are live. Welcome to Archaeothoughts. I'm your host, Bill Octor, and today I have a very special guest, Sarah Head. You may know her from Archae Fantasies, both the blog, the podcast, the video series, the lineup, the amusement park, the cruise
The
line,
social media empire.
the cruise line, which is now closed for the time being.
I feel like if I had a cruise line, I would still be running it. Be like, flee the COVID on my special COVID free ship.
So we are here today to continue our discussion that we sort of began last week. We're probably going to be doing this for the next few weeks, since COVID seems to be the number one topic in the world um, for some reason or other. So we're going to continue that
It's
talk
just a
today.
fad, you guys.
But today we're going to sort of focus a little bit more on one level of archaeology. That would be sort of the contract archaeologists. Those are the ones sort of not in. They're not the academics. They're not in the museums or within sort of private nonprofits. These are the ones who sort of do regulatory work out there. And the reason that for that is that they're facing sort of two different problems right now. They're either being asked to go into the field when their states are saying shelter in place, all non essential business needs to happen. There are archaeologists being asked to go into the field in multiple countries that I know of, Canada, the US, and the UK, or they are being told to stay home. And we have no work for you, in which case, then they're unemployed and they're sitting at home for an unknown period of time where they can't even go out to work. A lot of them have lost their second job if they're working at a small retail or a restaurant that has slowed down business because of all this activity. They've even lost that, so they're there. So we want to talk a little bit today about those two challenges coming up. So please join the chat, ask your questions. I'm hearing myself. I monitor the
I was
chat.
gonna say, was that me?
No, no, that's me. I monitor the chat on my phone, and it's behind the scenes stuff here. You're not going to see that when Ryan Seacrest is broadcasting from home with live with Kelly and Ryan. It's funny watching all these like morning shows and TV shows. They're
Trying to.
broadcasting from home.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, good on them. That's good.
Well, they're following. I mean, like if they're in California or New York, there's strict, stay-at-home things. So
Well, yeah, but when you own like a three-floor, 280 room mansion, it's easy to stay home and shelter in place. So,
you would think so, but they don't have like a studio with like good acoustics. They're always like bouncy acoustics on those
well,
things,
yeah, because they're idiots who don't know how to do the shit that they do for themselves. Like,
and they
no
can't
offense,
and they can't get their
but let's be
PAs and they can't get their PAs to the house to fix it for them.
do it for
So
them. I wonder how many like super rich people are figuring out how incredibly helpless they are in their everyday lives at this point. Probably not many.
well, I know a lot of them have found out all of a sudden that there's when their singing voice is out of tune, because we've all told them that, thanks to that misplaced video from over the weekend, the Imagine video.
Can we not do that? That's just A, I hate that song. And B, seriously, that's the best you can come up with for this. Let's unify everybody around the COVID virus. Let's sing Imagine. Really? Is that the only fucking John Lennon song anyone knows? Anyway, I'm over it.
Mm.
Told you I was cranky.
Rawr. Cranky at Noon. That's the new
Arr,
title of the show.
arr.
Cranky at Noon. All right. Speaking of
I
being
like
cranky,
that.
cranky and sour is the tone I've been seeing on Twitter, and I've interacted with some of these folks who are being asked to work uh, during this time period out in the field. Um, some are working for utility companies, which are listed. The utility company themselves are listed as essential, uh, businesses, and that makes sense. You got to keep the power grid up. But it's sort of questionable
Right.
whether they're, minor, line project under option B that might be developed 4 years from now is really critical at this moment during this particular crisis. So that's, or these construction projects where it's clearly, well, in most states, heavy construction is considered to be non-essential. You don't need it to, because the essential typically means, to keep the infrastructure running, keep everybody fed, keep everybody with electricity, give us all our internet. And
Yeah,
make
people
sure that,
forget that the internet's run by people.
and to make sure the toilets flush properly. Also, don't put anything in there but paper. If you wipe with anything else, just throw it in the trash, okay? If you're using a t-shirt, a book, or whatever, throw that in the trash.
Take my pill. Yep, I gotta. Nah,
Oh,
we're fine. We're good.
okay.
Hey, everybody! It's time for me to take my pill. Sorry about this. It happens. I can't stop it. Take my pill. Yeah, nothing. I'm sorry.
All right.
I
So
usually edit this
if
shit
you
out.
if you got your noontime pill right now and you need to take it, take it. It's a reminder to everybody who needs their noon pill. Take your noon pill.
Sorry, everybody.
Uh,
Oh well. The mystery's been solved. Yes, I'm medicated.
so, Sarah, what do you think about this? Folks sort of being forced to work, and I know we know personally at least one who's not only working in the field but has been asked to travel. So they are now traveling and staying in hotels in foreign in other places for business travel during a pandemic.
I I don't know. I feel like on the one hand, I've never been someone who's afraid of my hotel rooms when I travel. I know that the hotel fear is real, and that even when it's not a pandemic, there's always the joke within archaeology about the nasty room and all the weird shit you're going to find in your room. And I'm one of those people that soaks in the bathtub, and everybody's always like, "Oh my god, you soak in the bathtub." I'm like, no one has ever got bathtub bugs. Like, no one has ever gotten sick from a bath. But the bed, on the other hand,
When you're
that's a
done,
whole
I got a
other
story.
story. Oh no, don't ruin it for me. Anyway, so I don't know how long the COVID-19 is viable when it's not on a human host. So I don't know
From
if you
the
really need. Go ahead.
from the cruise ship, it was determined that they were able to still find it 17 days later.
Ouch. Well, that sucks. So I think if knowing that, we should probably be closing hotels down. Sorry about hotel workers. Um, Either that or bleaching everything,
Yeah.
I guess.
So my bad
I don't know. I
bathtub.
think on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad they're still getting work, and I do kind of feel like regulation archaeology is essential, especially if you're going to continue with construction. So as long as you're doing construction, you need to have an archaeologist present as per the rules. But at the same time, if shit's really contagious 17 days after exposure, then that's just irresponsible sending people into situations like that.
I think if the travel's there, and if obviously if construction's still working, we need to be monitoring it. I think it's more of an overall concern, which goes beyond the COVID-19 right now into just general safety of archaeologists in general, which varies greatly. You'll have the big companies which are very focused on safety, and they will make sure
Yeah.
you're wearing hard hats in
Well,
the
they don't.
field and you're signing forms 3 times a day, and they will make sure
Yeah.
you're practicing safety. And then there's the small firms that are just going to throw you out there and tell you just dig and not be concerned with injuries, exposures, or anything
Yeah.
of that nature. So it's always worrisome about what type of business and construction. That's very iffy. I mean, they're always very tight on making sure they're to the regulatory point of view,
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say
do
most
you?
construction companies I've had to deal with are like to the fucking letter, man. And that's why we have so many restrictions in our field is because
Right.
it's just washed down from the construction companies. So I'm not worried about the construction companies. But yeah, there are some archaeology companies that skirt OSHA as closely as possible. And does OSHA even have regulations for this shit?
Yeah, there were special regulations from
Really?
OSHA. I think it was in the first bill from last
That's
week,
awesome.
because I was reading that. I don't know why I was reading that, but I was reading that bill, and yes, they added special OSHA regulations to protect like healthcare workers, restaurant workers, grocery store workers, and things like that, to give them some protocols to try to
Yeah,
protect them during this. And I know at least one. I've heard anecdotally. Everything's anecdotally. I haven't been in the field um,
right.
recently. Um, that some are driving separate cars rather than buddying up in the same vehicle, but some are still buddying up in the same vehicle. So you're sort of exposing yourself to each other.
I mean, if you've been ordered to do something by the company, because I know that the company I work for, they sent out a letter with, how we're trying to keep people safe in the field, and that was one of the things. You're going to be driving your own vehicle, one person per vehicle at a time, no more than two, unless if it's absolutely necessary. But if you've been told not to buddy up and you choose to buddy up after that, I mean, now you're making a personal choice,
Oh,
and
absolutely, absolutely.
that's not on the business at that point. It's like you've been told to wear your hard hat. You choose not to wear your hard hat, and a tree branch falls on your head. You know,
Yeah, personal responsibility is
not that
personal
that's really going to
responsibility, and
happen.
that's we're not here to
Exactly.
defend you on that. If you do something
No.
dumb, you do something dumb. All right, that's
Yeah.
on you.
It's just like, but consider the other person you have in the car with you. Is it really worth it to possibly expose? Like, I don't give a shit about other people catching it. Like, oh no, I personally might catch corona. Yeah, it's probably going to happen. But should does that excuse me from going out and possibly exposing other people, either knowingly or unknowingly? That's I think that's where we're at this point. It's like, and of course our country is not set up in any kind of way to prevent people from not dying of starvation, hunger, or getting kicked out from rent if you can't work. So
Hashtag rent
we're
strike
all kind of
2020.
screwed. Yeah, what's going on with the colleges that were on strike right before all this shit went down?
Well,
How's
they're
that
all
working
empty
out?
now.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what what are you striking now? I mean, I completely support them in what they were trying to do, and I'm just like, how is this
The
fucking affecting
You're
that
right.
now?
The USC strike. I don't know. I have not heard anything from them since this all went down because they're probably not there anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
uh,
School strike.
bad timing, bad timing. COVID
It's been bad timing for a lot of things. Um,
really has been.
so those are those folks, and they're out there in the field. And if you are one of these people out in the field, please be careful. Follow the rules. If your company hasn't given you rules, follow the CDC rules anyway. About keeping
Yeah,
distance and all the making sure you're washing your hands. Um, on there, take hand sanitizer into the field. This is not the time
yeah,
to
you should do
be
that anyway.
You should do that anyway, but this is not the time to sort of show off and eat your lunch with the regularly dirty, grubby hands.
Or your trowel. Let's just not do that this
So,
time, guys.
um,
Chill for a minute.
this is the time to go ahead, rinse them off with water, and then put the hand sanitizer on it.
Yeah,
You got to keep yourself safe because if you catch it, you're out of work. And depending on how these bills go through, you may or may not get paid. I think the one last night, I think it only passed the Senate. Or the Senate's supposed to vote today. House hasn't voted
I
on it
thought.
yet, so don't start spending that money yet.
Oh, you don't even have the money yet, so yeah. I thought I heard it got through the House this morning. But again, don't quote me on that, and I'm not going to ask she who must not be named out loud to tell me, so
Yes.
because then we'll never get her to shut up.
Yeah.
So
So if you're in the field, stay safe. The one good thing about doing field work in archaeology is it is typically the work itself is social distancing at its
yeah,
best.
I mean you're usually like 15 to 30 meters apart from each other anyway. You just don't congregate at lunch, which is gonna suck. I mean, because congregating during lunch and after work is, yeah, the letter that I got from my company. They're like, don't do that. And it's just like, oh man, that's like the best part about doing archaeology for me is the socializing aspect of it. And um, and now now you can't even do that with each other.
Yeah, and let's
Oh,
see, we got a question about the
oh
unsell books, and I
yeah.
guess that would be with any equipment, the sharing of equipment, and that's where maybe bringing some like disinfectant wipes out into the field might not be a bad thing to sort of clean things off. Also, maybe having gloves to wear in the field. In the same way,
Oh,
if
God.
like if you're dealing like well, we do that. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a contaminated soil, and you got to wear
Yeah,
the
yeah.
latex gloves
It
anyway.
sucks though.
I know your hands get all super sweaty.
Yeah, gross. But you know what? Suck it up. The company I was working for did say they were going to go out of their way to make sure that everyone had their own equipment. But the company I work for also, the techs themselves don't do soil and Munsell descriptions. You can write down what you want, but your guess doesn't make it into the report. So, I mean, that's one way to cut down on that. They just would have to have the PI, not the PI, but the field director go around and check everybody's hole afterwards.
And there's a way around it. I
Good
mean,
times.
and the books itself is probably the most minor because they're going to be covered in other stuff.
I
Just
was gonna say,
don't breathe or sneeze
chances
on
of
them.
chances of catching something disgusting from a Munsell book other than COVID is actually pretty high. Another thing people should do, and I know a lot of people don't like this idea, but I mean, most of us carry bandanas and rags with us when we go into the field because we're dirty, filthy, disgusting people. But you can kind of bandit wear those, and it's some protection if you have to get up close with each other.
Right. It's more of a
It's
spray.
not perfect, but
Keeps most of these droplets off, but yeah, it won't stop the virus from going. But it's better than nothing
yeah.
in the field.
If you I mean, we saw when I went to the grocery store last, because I my entire apartment building is full of people. I'm the youngest person in my building. So I went grocery shopping for everybody, and when I was at the store, a lot of people were wearing either handmade masks or the little cloth masks that everybody's like, oh, those won't do anything for you. And it's like, you know what, at least we're trying.
Yeah,
We're trying to do the best we can with what we've got. So
that's true for everybody out there. So if you're in the field, be safe. Now let's transition. Let's transition to those folks like us who are sitting at home but aren't fortunate enough to be YouTube stars. Are we really YouTubes? Hey,
yeah.
hey, I've been on 3 different channels. Okay.
Hey, that's pretty good though. And I've got a couple different YouTube channels that I wish I was like as big as they are, like Archaeosoup and Dig It with Raven.
Yeah. No,
Hell
no,
yeah.
nobody that cool. Two
I'm gonna
were
talk.
mine, and then was yours.
Yeah,
Which,
well, since I'm gonna be home a lot more, I'm gonna be doing some more
oh
watching
yeah,
of shitty TV.
yeah, we're gonna be keeping ourselves. So this is what we're trying to say here is that, um, for a lot of
It's
us are now home crickets and forced to watch crappy live YouTube shows like this one. They're home and they have various different things. You have the people at home who are still working. If they're in CRM, they're writing reports and doing maybe some GIS work and things like that on there. If they're academics, they may be having to teach from home and all of a sudden have to put a class together that what they weren't expecting to do online in like
yeah.
2 days, make it happen. You have the grad student who all of a sudden found out they have no access to their materials on campus, like the bioarchaeologist, your collection, or even like any archaeologist, your collection is now on campus. You're off campus. You can't do
And
anything with
you're
it.
not.
You can't interact with it at all. But you still are
That's a
on your
that's a
timetable.
nice collection you've got there.
especially if
Be a
like
shame if you couldn't access it.
it's like I was going to finish my PhD, my dissertation this quarter. Nope, not
You
going
see,
to
and
happen.
I'm completely online. Like my master's degree is fully online, and I emailed my thesis advisor a week ago now, and I was like, "How is this affecting me?" Because I don't go to classes. Everything I do is online and through email and stuff.
Right.
And I kids, and I'm just like, so I personally am not burdened further, but my school is burdened further. So how is that affecting my chances of graduation this semester? You know?
Yeah, no, that's true for everybody right now. I'm worried about like high schools. All of a sudden, you have all these seniors, and for these school
Oh
campuses
God.
that are like, yeah, we're canceling the rest of the school year. What does that mean? Does that mean that this quarter doesn't happen? How does that affect them when they're trying to go to college when they have an entire quarter just missing from their transcripts? Um,
Do they have to go back and redo it in the spring? And instead of graduating in the fall, they're all going to graduate spring? I
yeah,
mean,
there's a lot of
and
questions.
it's like, well, it's like the online schooling doesn't really work for, well, for a lot of people, honestly, because like a lot of the high school and the undergraduate grade school kids don't have reliable access to internet.
What was the
You know, they may
stat?
not have. Hmm?
What was the stat? I was reading, I think, a statistic, and all statistics are lies. I think
True.
22% of Americans do not have access to high-speed internet.
Or any internet, not even dial-up shit.
Yeah.
So like, which I hear is more reliable than the cable right now. Um,
If you
go figure.
if you watch Still Digging on the Archeo RPG channel, you'll understand that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So Pennsylvania, or maybe it was just Philly, but our local schools, you can have online classes, but you're not allowed to grade anything. So you can't base the semester grade off of online classes because so many of our students don't have reliable internet access. So they couldn't attend classes if they wanted to. So, and it's very similar for a lot of college people. Like they don't, their internet access. I mean, shit, I remember when I was a freshman going to school for my undergrad. And my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't have internet at home. If I wanted to do anything with the internet, I had to go to campus because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, no, I
So
remember those days of having to go to the computer room on campus to get anything done. And
yeah,
so those are the challenges for the academics, both the students and the teachers. And I see a lot of the teachers on Twitter just sort of going crazy
oh my God, the teachers are having a meltdown.
because a lot of their classes, well, one, their lecture formats are in such a way where it's sort of an interactive. And do you do live Zoom classes where everybody has to attend at the same time and you do your
Yeah,
lecture like you would do it normal, or do you have to switch to a full online session, which means you pretty much post your lecture as either a video that everybody can watch on their own time or just a text that they read, and then on a message board have to interact in one way, shape, or form. And a lot of these professors are not used to doing any of that kind of stuff, so that's been a
a
challenge.
lot of this, a lot of the students aren't used to that format of a class too. I mean, even though online classes have been around for a long time, personally, I think they're set up terribly. Like in general, the default online class
The black
format
the
is
Blackboard
crap.
method.
Oh fuck, I hate Blackboard so much.
Yeah, yeah, I did my
But
master's
the
on the
whole idea
Blackboard,
of
and that
like
sucked.
read these articles, start one conversation, and respond to three others. It's like, A, what if I don't have anything to say? Now I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, which I guess if that's what you're trying to teach me, bravo. Um, and B, you're not really getting sincere interaction that way because you're forcing people to interact. Like, make me read. Yeah, give me my reading assignments, give me my lecture, give me my podcast lecture, send me documentation and stuff, quiz me, test me, make me write an article. That's fine, but this forced interaction isn't really a great idea. Um, Again, not a lot of people have internet access. So some people only have enough time to, if you're going to the internet, the library, or if you're stealing internet from the hotels in your car, you've only got so much time that you can sit there before they come knock on your window and tell you to go home. Um,
Yeah,
so it's just not saying that's a personal experience or anything. I'm just saying I
and
got creative.
you can't sit out. You can't sit in Starbucks right now because you can't go inside. So all the places you would normally go to go get free internet, the library,
Right.
your local public library, your Starbucks, your McDonald's, you can't go inside those places.
Yeah. And I mean, like, on the one hand, it's like everybody suddenly has all of this free time and all of this, time that we could be doing all these things that we've always wanted to do. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I still got shit that I needed to do.
Yeah,
I still want to graduate this semester.
yeah,
I still want, and I'm still working on my project, but what I don't have access to my teachers now.
and
And that's me. Can you imagine people who have no access to their work, to their teachers, to their classrooms, to their support groups, to anybody? I mean, we got people that are on full scale lockdown who can't even leave their apartments. I
yeah,
mean,
and the next and last group I want to talk about is those. They're both the professionals and the on the academic side are those who are basically by themselves. You know,
yeah.
I know a lot of people who are by themselves. They are in lockdown because of where they happen to live. Some are even like out of the country, away from home, with no access to get home because of all the border
Hmm.
closings and things like that. And it's affecting a lot of people's mental health. This is a very stressful time. This is a very anxious time. And that's okay. If you're feeling anxious and stressed, that's fine. Uh, that's normal.
Oh yeah.
If you're feeling a little sad at times, that's okay too. So yeah, we're definitely shifting the tone right now to sort of be like, what's one of the reasons I'm doing this out here
Yeah.
now is to give some interaction, give some place, let people know they're not alone, and there are
I
ways to reach
think
out.
I think that is really important. I think if you're someone that does have access to internet and you do have access to the ability to make videos, especially like if you can't make videos, that's fine. And, you can still take pictures and you can still and do blogs and stuff. But I really I can't stress this enough. I think people, especially archaeologists who can get on social media and utilize social media should, even if you don't like it. I still think people should be trying to make videos. People should, and it's that face to face time, which is why I'm like, the video is so much better because you can sit and you can hear the voice, you can see a face. It gives you a feeling of having someone in the room with you, even if you're just making a day-to-day vlog kind of thing, like I woke up and made coffee, I ate eggs for breakfast. I mean, yeah, it may seem mundane to you, but it is going to be comforting to people.
And
And right now everybody's turning to streaming sources and the internet and YouTube, and that's why YouTube keeps crashing, because there's just so many people on it. We could be making archaeological content right now. Like we as a field, we could be putting our lectures up, we could be putting our presentations up, we could be just sitting there and shooting the shit for 5 to 10 minutes on camera. You can do it with your cell phone. Almost all computers have some kind of video editing software. Most cell phones have video editing software now. Like a lot of us, I'm not saying all of us, but I am saying a good chunk of us don't have an excuse not to be making social media content. And right now, what else are you doing? We could be out competing the pseudo archaeology shows, the network televisions. We could be getting a lot of our material and a lot of our information out there right now if everybody would just turn their focus away from panicking about toilet paper and turn it towards educating the public about archaeology. I mean, we could overwhelm this crap if people would just get together and do it. Anyway, I'm over it.
if you're anxious about that, if the thought of like, oh my God, I'm going to talk to people, you could see like from right here, there are plenty of us doing this. So we're more
Yeah.
than welcomed. And it's not just us, it's pretty much, I can guarantee you, pretty much anybody who's doing this already online would be more than happy to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
There's also, if you're looking on things like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, people are arranging things on like Zoom happy hours. There were a couple last
Yeah.
week I saw where these aren't being broadcast for anybody. It's just a video conference call. where it's you and a bunch of other archaeologists just chatting. It's a reminder that you're not alone. That's the weird thing
Yeah,
right now. I have talked face to face and by voice with more of the archaeologists I follow on Twitter in the last 2 weeks than I have since I signed up on Twitter, like five,
that's
six
true.
years ago. Because now that we're sort of isolated, we're all reaching out to each other a lot more.
We
And
all have time.
we're saying to you, please just remember you're not alone. And you do what you can. You don't have to do anything, and you process your sort of emotions the way it's best for you, as long as it's not destructive. And darn it, I don't have any of the phone numbers for if it's just destructive. Um, but yes, this is going to be a hard time, but you know we will get past this. It will. This too shall pass, and then we'll go on to the next problem
Yeah,
because we had the threat of war in January. The world was on fire in February. We have a pandemic
that's
in
true.
March. So April kaiju or something.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Kaiju would actually be a step up.
Kaiju would be awesome. Actually, I'm really upset that they
I mean,
delayed
I
Godzilla versus Kong till November.
if the world has to end, I guess being destroyed by giant fire-breathing radioactive lizards would kind of be a neat way to go if we have to. Um, I would totally vote for that over slow death by COVID.
You just
Uh,
you just you just want Idris Elba in a flight suit giving a lecture, giving a pep talk.
does he have to be wearing the flight suit? I mean, can I just have Idris Elba? I'm like, you're not dissuading me on this one. No, it's just like everything that you just said. This is going to be a hard time for people, and as somebody who talks about my mental health and like advocates for people with mental health, um, yeah, you're going to have some downtime. But I want people to kind of keep in mind that we don't have to look at this as the end of the damn world. We can look at it as a way of recreating society, utilizing tools that we've been developing for the last 20 years, that being social media, the internet. We can have face to face conversations via the internet. Yeah, it's not as great as going to Starbucks and sitting down with a hot cup of coffee and talking to your friends at a table, but it's the next best thing. We can all wear our pajamas. None of us have to leave our house, and we can all pet our cats while we're doing it. So it's like we're not disconnected yet. I don't think we'll get there. I think the infrastructure will be there to keep the internet going. So we should be using it while we've got it. I mean, yeah, I'm an introvert in general, so like constantly being online really isn't my thing, but if it helps people feel better, I'm there, man. I can do it. I can suck it up and I can do it.
And
But, you know,
like a lot of things, you got to pace your internet. You go to the wrong
yeah.
places, the wrong site, it will increase your anxiety tenfold, and so
Yeah,
forth.
quit watching the news.
So sometimes you do
Just
need
quit
to go
watching the
out.
news.
Another great thing you can do, I think Sarah's been doing this, is like, reach out to your neighbors. Obviously you're not going to directly talk to them, but, I'm
Yeah.
sure you live near someone who maybe is in a prime demographic to be worried about this. Reach out and see if,
Yeah.
maybe you can help them by going down to the store and picking them up some supplies they need. You can get it, drop it off on their door, and let them know so they don't have to go out and expose
Yeah.
themselves to things like that. So there are things you can physically do in your own world as well as social media
Yeah.
to make things better, and that's just mutual aid.
And
This is a time for mutual aid, both online and in person. Let's
helping people out, like taking care of my neighbors actually kind of helps me a little bit. It gives me a purpose. So it does help. It still freaks me out going to the grocery store. Like I had a minor panic attack yesterday after I went to the grocery store, and it freaked me out. But I'll still do it. Like I'll still go and yell at my neighbors through their door, and I'm like, just put a post-it note on the door. I'll grab it. Tweet me or text me what you need at the store, and I'll just hang it on the door when I get home. It's fine.
my weird thing
But
since
I know that they're taken care of.
my weird thing since I've been at home sick since before this all started. is I have my neighbors
Yeah.
next door who are older than me who have twice already brought stuff over to the house. So
Aw, that's so
it's very
sweet.
sweet, but I'm like, I don't want them going out.
Well, you can't stop people.
I know, and then that's
Fortunately, all of my of the four people that I share the building with, the four other neighbors that I share the building with, two of them, like they're all older than I am. Two of them are sheltering in place, like they don't leave if they don't have to. And the guy that lives above me, man, he's bulletproof, so whatever. But if that's what he wants to do, if that's how he feels like he's going to handle it, he's the one in the high risk group. I've done what I can for him. You know, what can you do at that point? So, if your neighbors want to take care of you, let them take care of you.
so basically, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and take care of your friends on the internet. Is basically what
Yeah,
we're taking away
yeah.
with here. So I think that's a good place to actually end for today. I think it's a nice positive place. It's we're not trapped. We can help.
Yeah.
We're not helpless. We can be helpful. So I think it's good for us to end today. Um, Next week, I think I have an angry Irishman as the guest, but I will confirm that.
Oh, oh, but call him a Brit, please.
Well, we'll call him a Brit, and he'll definitely be angry. So we'll see.
Oh, that'll be so great.
We'll get more insight on what's going on over in the UK right now, and hopefully he can still make it. After hearing this, he might not. But anyway, I thank you all for watching. Um, you know, Please subscribe, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You can if you enjoy this content or you want me to get back to my video game content, become a patron over at www.patreon.com/Archaeothoughts. You can always reach me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Archaeothoughts, and you can email me at archaeothoughts@gmail.com. And Sarah, where can they find you?
Just type Archie Fantasies into your search browser and I will pop up on everything. I'm on Twitter, which is the best way to get hold of me, Instagram, next best way, Facebook, I hate it. I think I have a Reddit thread someone started. I
Ooh.
definitely don't check that. I know, I'm special now. I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. So there you go. And I have several different blogs, but honestly, if you just type in Archy, Archy fantasies, all one word, you can find most of my social media that way. And you can always reach me via email at archyfantasies@gmail.com. And I'm always willing to entertain goofy theories about aliens, giants, lost civilizations, weird artifacts, and pop culture.
And I'm here to talk, if you want to talk video games or, post-structuralist theory, yeah,
Post-structuralist.
give me, anything in
I'm here to
between.
talk fun shit and
Anything in between.
theory.
It's a narrow topic. I know. Narrow. All right. Thank you all. I will see you next time.